Williamson, Inc. serves as Williamson County's Chamber of Commerce and Office of Economic Development. In partnership with the Williamson Herald, WBKM Radio, they brought together Meet the Candidates, an interview series open to all candidates for this office to help inform the community. During these conversations, candidates will share their views, and I may also share some of my own opinions as part of the discussion. Those opinions are my own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Williamson, Inc., the Williamson Herald, WBKM, or any organizations involved in hosting this series. You can find additional voter resources, including these interviews and written candidate profiles, at williamsonchamber.com/vote. You worked real hard getting the appointment for this position, I'd say 6 to 8 months ago. You've decided you want it again for the full 4 years. Why? What have you seen in the last 6, 7 months that said I can do this?
Well, to start, public service has always been my wheelhouse. I'm local law enforcement. I've career law enforcement 27 years now. I serve at the Williamson County Sheriff's Department and the Brentwood Police Department. And during some of the Brentwood days, I was actually assigned to the Williamson County SWAT team as well. So I've had a front row seat to both county and municipal government my entire career. I like to think that I bring a common sense approach to some complex problems that we're facing, and some things that are in the very near future that there are going to be some difficult decisions to make. So I feel like my career of service has led me to this point, and I believe I have something to offer to the county that raised me.
Your father was a police officer. You have a brother that's a police officer. So apparently it's in the Cardin gene pool.
Evidently.
Is Williamson County a safe place, or can it be safer?
It is one of the safest places in this wonderful state, and I dare say that the country. We can always strive to be better. We don't have the concerns that, say, our neighbors to the north have. Primary goal is to provide a safe environment where families can raise children and send them to school and know that those schools are safe, and that the community and the streets are safe when they're not in school.
I have a number of questions that I need to ask you, but I want to take advantage of your experience as a law enforcement officer. You've been with Brentwood for how long?
25 years.
25 years. That's unusual for sheriff's deputy. You're a detective,
correct?
But you haven't always been a detective. You've made a financial sacrifice to do what you enjoy doing. How do we stop that? That we can pay not only law enforcement officers, teachers, the guys that pick up the garbage. How can we pay them more that they know how much we appreciate them?
Well, for me specifically, we're among the highest paid in the state, traditionally. It fluctuates. Some agencies around us will rise to us, we'll rise above them again, and it's a constant cycle. The Williamson County deputies received a substantial pay increase last year, which took them, I believe, into the 75th percentile, if my numbers are right. Of course, we would love to pay them much more than that. We love to be the top paid in the country. But, yeah.
Well, we have isn't our sheriff a former Brentwood police chief?
He is my former boss. Yes.
So that may explain some of that. What do you want to accomplish I know you've done a lot of listening in the last half a year, but what do you want to accomplish now that you are on the budget committee? And I don't know many brand new county commissioners asked to be on the budget committee.
My understanding, it's an honor to serve on the budget committee. I'm sorry, you got me sidetracked with the budget committee.
it's yes, it is an honor. It also can be a pain because everybody knows you've got the keys to the vault. And most folks aren't shy about asking. How do you tell people, sorry, can't do that now, or sorry, can't do that?
You have to weigh wants versus needs. We have to be fiscally responsible with taxpayers' money. The best thing to do is just constantly evaluate requests and not have anything on auto pay. Just because we purchased 3 school buses last year, does that mean we need 3 school buses this year? And then that goes for every department. I'm not picking on the school bus department by any means. So just being conservative, fiscally responsible, and just keeping a close eye on the requests. And do we need this? Do we want this? Both.
So you treat county money like it's your money.
Correct.
Schools. How many children do you have?
2 in Williamson County schools.
2 in Williamson County schools. I presume you keep up with Williamson County schools through your own children.
I do.
Are you satisfied with the quality that comes home about 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Our schools do a wonderful job. They have for years. That's what's attracted so many people to this area. And quite frankly, my wife and I were determined to stay in Williamson County. We could always, they're going to say exactly what I have. We could always strive to be better. The main thing is just to uphold what we've been doing to this point and just try to avoid complacency. And
is there an area that you see that we can do better?
As we sit here today, specifically, no, but I do keep in close contact with the District 3 school board representative, and he and I are there for each other and to support each other. So any concerns I would have, I would take directly to him.
Now, if I recall correctly, no, the district is in Spring Hill, isn't it? Or at least a good part of the district is in Spring Hill. So you have one of those districts where the people in the yellow shirts live. Do they spend a lot of time with you? And let me be specific. The folks in the yellow shirts, I can't remember the name of the organization, but they pay particular attention to annexation and growth.
Well, District 3 is, the best way to describe it is Buckner, Duplex, and 31. And we do take a portion of Chapman's Retreat down in kind of a loop down there on the south side. So their property is not actually in our district, but this does affect the urban growth boundary resolution that we recently passed. So they have not been in contact with me directly. I have gotten emails that went to all commissioners regarding this. So that doesn't directly affect my district, but it does.
This particular issue, now, County Commission doesn't butt heads with City of Franklin very often at all. They're butting heads on this one. And it's not really butting heads. They're going to have to negotiate. City of Spring Hill, they kind of butt heads with the City of Thompson Station and Williamson County. How do you keep your equilibrium about dealing between the county, which you're a duly elected representative, and the city you live in?
Well, I've developed a good relationship with Mayor Matt Fitterer and members of the BOMA. You're correct that the butting of heads has been between, most recently, Spring Hill and the county, not so much Thompson Station, but with the urban growth boundary resolution that was passed. So, just trying to work with them, bearing in mind that this task force received awards from the state for the way they were working together. And then this resolution comes along without any sort of dialogue, essentially, between the Spring Hill or any of the municipalities. And so that could have been handled better, I believe. But we still have a good relationship with the Spring Hill Bowmen. We'll continue to work along with them to do what's best for the people of the district.
What are you doing to get elected?
Well, to this point, we have not had an official campaign kickoff yet. Commissioner Mason and I will be the only two in the Republican primary, and then we will face some Democrats in the general election.
So you have the nomination in hand?
Yes.
Okay.
I will be the Republican candidate for this seat.
What's the toughest part about being a county commissioner?
There is a lot of time commitment involved. That's difficult. The job that I carry sometimes, and trying to raise two kids, but just trying to stay on top of the issues, trying to stay on top of what your constituents are saying and what the local municipalities, in our particular case, are saying.
In your day job, you have reason to be at the Williamson County Jail on a regular basis. You've seen it for a long time, for 25 years now. You've taken people and left them there, checked them in. And do we need a new one?
I believe we do, yes. That building is old and antiquated in many ways. It's been around longer than my career, which is saying something. We've outgrown it. The technology is better now. You want to provide a safe environment there for staff, inmates, everyone that's there. I do believe it's time.
At one point, the Triple J project was going to cost $350 million. Through a lot of work, that number is down to what? You think it's down to $250 million or something like that?
I don't have accurate recent estimations on the cost.
But it'll be money we have to borrow.
Most likely.
What's your attitude toward debt?
Only borrow money when it is totally necessary. As you said earlier, treating the county money like I treat my money. I don't run my home running up a bunch of debt. I don't expect the taxpayers would want me to do that with their money and the county's assets as well. So only when absolutely necessary do we need to borrow money.
What's the difference between a have to situation and a want to situation?
Well, as I said, that facility is old, antiquated, and we need a new facility. And what's the liability of carrying that, housing inmates in this facility, knowing there are problems?
Well, see, that jail, it is a Williamson County facility, but it is the Franklin City Jail. It is the Brentwood and the Fairview and Thompson Station City Jail. If we need a new one, then maybe it's time to take a bite out of that pancake. But that's why we have county commissioners. That's why we have elections.
Well, the jail, it's the responsibility of the sheriff by TCA. So this is a project that the county is going to have to absorb. I don't know that it would be wise.
There's another part of that jail too called juvenile justice.
Correct. And
that sure needs some work.
It really does. I was recently there, and I've in my current role, I don't do a lot of time at juvenile. I'm dealing primarily with adult offenders, but I did a tour with some of the staff there, and I was kind of appalled that we're using a trailer as a courtroom right now.
Thank you for your time. We're out.
Is that it?
We're out. We're out of time, and these days we need to make sure everybody gets the same amount of time.
I understand.
Thank you, Guy
Thank
Carter.
you for not beating me up too bad.
No. Jennifer Mason is running for her third term?
Yes.
12 years.
So I was appointed in 2017, ran in 2018, ran in 2022, and now I'm running again in 2026.
You're getting to be an old hand.
You know, it's funny, I actually started thinking about that the other day and counting all the people who have been there before me, and I'm up there. It's surprising.
That's a sizable number of years. What would you change?
Oh, what would I change? I don't know if there was a lot that I would change other than, you know, growth is our biggest issue. We talk about growth all the time. Anytime you talk about somebody, they're going to ask you, what are we doing to manage growth? What are we doing to manage growth? And I think what I would change over the years is just having more of those conversations more often. You can't talk about it enough. How do we control growth? What does that look like? How does that look for our infrastructure? We had that conversation several years ago when we did the town and country plan, you know, 1 house per 5 acres, trying to preserve the rural county. And I think that was a great conversation to have. And so I think just continuing to talk about it. There's been a lot of talk lately about the Triple J project. As you know, the third J, the Judicial Center, has kind of fallen off to the wayside. So it's just continuing to have those conversations so we're not leaving anything behind or leaving anything on the table.
And we haven't even talked about schools yet.
No, we haven't.
In your experience as a county commissioner, you have an investment in the Williamson County school system.
I have 2 investments.
Well, that's right. You've got a child and you got a husband.
That is correct.
So, so you stay informed.
I do.
Plus, you're a county commissioner.
Yes.
County commissioner, you fund the thing.
Yes, that is true.
Or the county commission does.
Correct.
That is a unique way of funding something that has grown. It has, and not only grown, it's mushroomed, and all of a sudden the growth stopped.
Yes.
Or at least, I think they use the term flattened. That's a Corey Mason word, flattened.
Flattened.
What are we going to do when that growth comes back? And it will come back. This has almost been a God thing because we needed to take a breath.
We needed a reprieve.
And then along comes a Triple J project, more
Yes.
expensive than any high school. But it seems like that's been handled.
We're working on it. You know, as far as the juvenile justice portion of it, that is moving right along. It's been funded, ground's been broken to some degree. They've moved all the parts around. With the jail, same thing. We funded it. We haven't funded the sheriff's department as far as a new base for the sheriff's department, but we have funded the jail. We haven't even really touched the judicial center, but schools have flattened out. So that, I think you said it correctly, it's been a godsend that we've had a reprieve from building schools. I felt like my first 8 years on the commission, all we did was schools because of all the growth, which is what we needed to do. It's what Williamson County is known for. It's why people want to move here. It's why people want to have their children educated here. And so we have to continue to fund the schools to make sure we make Williamson County a desirable place for our children to be educated. But since it's flattened, it gives us a chance to move into other areas. And with growth becomes more people needing to get divorced. More people unfortunately committing crimes, more people getting traffic infractions. And so that increases our law enforcement presence, which then increases the need for our jails and our justice centers. And so I think we're very fortunate that we've had a reprieve from schools right now, but it will come back. And so, as I said earlier, we have to continue to have that conversation about growth. We have to continue to plan and look in the future. We can't just assume this is how it's going to be, because you're exactly right, it's not. And so what does that look like, and how do we plan for it?
Tell people what you do for a living.
So I am the Deputy District Attorney for Williamson County. So I work for the elected DA, Stacey Edmondson. I'm right below her, and I oversee the Special Victims Unit. So I prosecute crimes against children. So anybody in Williamson County that's charged with an offense involving a child comes through my team, my office. Whether it's me or a member of my team, we're the ones handling the prosecution, working hand in hand with all of our law enforcement agencies, not just the county. We work with municipalities as well, just making sure that Williamson County remains safe, remains somewhere not only where you want to educate your kids, but where you want to live and where you feel safe doing so.
It's a county department.
Well, the district attorney's office is actually a state department, but we work hand in hand with county. Juvenile services with the county, general sessions is with the county, clerk's office. So it's this weird state county mashup.
It's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid.
I'm leading you into a discussion of the debt.
The debt. Yes. Capital debt. Yes.
Your office is unique. It's hard to find. I might be generous by saying you've got 4 parking spaces.
We don't have any.
Oh.
Generous. 4 is generous.
But it's off of Main Street, and it's really off of 4th Avenue, and it's really off of an alley. But hey, there's an example of how to handle debt.
Well, ironically, that space became too small. We could not park. We had 3 to 4 people to an office, so we had to move. So we've actually relocated recently to Brentwood, which is away from the courthouse, so it's not ideal, but we couldn't afford rent
in downtown Franklin.
And we couldn't find a
You're
space.
making news.
I know. We couldn't find a space big enough that we could afford. So we actually moved to Brentwood. We have a great location now, right off Commerce Way. But for years, 20 plus years, we were back there in that little hidey hole in the alley making do.
Behind the Franklin Theater.
Correct, yes, making do.
You set me up for that question then, which has to do with the debt. If the DA can't afford downtown Franklin rent, do we really need a new courthouse? You ought to know.
No. So we are required to put the courthouse in Franklin. It has to be in the county seat. Now, whether it's downtown Franklin or not downtown Franklin, but you got to also think about what the courthouse does. I would say it's a center of a community, meaning it keeps and drives daytime downtown traffic. People who come to the courthouse, who work there, go there, they eat there, they shop, they enjoy downtown Franklin. So you pull that out of downtown Franklin, put it somewhere else, downtown Franklin may take a hit. They may argue we're good, we don't need it. But then you've also got the jail, where you have to transport people who are incarcerated to the courthouse. So then if you're transporting further away, that becomes an issue. We also have juvenile court, which is located next to the jail. And so if you start expanding further and further apart, it just becomes more and more difficult. My office is a perfect example. It takes me 20 minutes to get to the courthouse. So if the judge calls me and says, we need somebody here right now to handle an issue, okay, well, let me get in my car, let me drive, let me find parking. That's a huge, this morning, perfect example. I got there at 8:45 and I got the last parking spot in the garage, and there's people coming out the door of the courthouse. So being in downtown Franklin has its pros. It also has its cons. That's a great question for us to study and decide. Is the H.G. Hill property where we need to be? Do we want to continue to be in downtown and kind of part of that centric commerce, or do we want to go elsewhere? But there's a ripple effect when you do that.
That property you mentioned has been priced $17.5 million.
And some change, right?
And that's just for the land.
Yes.
Could probably have to build maybe another $150 million for the building.
They haven't really given us numbers.
No.
I would hope it wouldn't be that high, but potentially it could be. I know the renovation costs were initially around $30 million, now projected to be closer to $70 or $80 million. So you know, at the end of the day, depending on if they purchase that property and what they build, will it be the same, more? It won't be less,
No.
I wouldn't think.
And you'll probably have to bid on that building.
Oh,
Because something
absolutely.
tells me somebody else is going to come along and offer more than 17.5 million.
Well, you know, I'm not privy to the conversations that the mayor has had with the property owner and what that looks
Which
like.
is the H.G. Hill Realty Company.
Correct. And so I would hope that the price offered is the price we would pay without having to be bid, but we would definitely have to bid out the project and what that looks like.
Do you have another place to take it?
Well, that's the $1 million question, Tom.
No, it's a $17 million question.
That is correct. You know, everybody has ideas. There have been ideas thrown out that we renovate where we are, I've heard that we break it up into a civil courthouse and then build a criminal justice center somewhere else. You know, the H.G. Hills property, there was a property at one point closer to the jail. So there have been some other properties thrown out and about. My understanding is the H.G. Hills property has been identified as the property that best fits our needs.
You're a litigator.
I am.
Does it take a litigator's mindset to organize yourself as a county commissioner? Many times, and Monday, I bet, is a good example. You'll leave your office and go to the county commission meeting. I bet you won't even stop for supper. You'll go straight for that 6 o'clock meeting
That's right.
and pray it doesn't last till midnight.
Pray, but, you know, kind of like a good Girl Scout, I'll be prepared in case it does.
Sometimes people run for county commission, get elected, and think, oh my God, what have I done? Have you ever thought like that?
No, I have
Okay.
not. And I will tell you, because I have been so ingrained in public services in this community. I started in the DA's office in 2005. My husband, you mentioned Corey Mason, who's the communications director, started in 2006 with the county schools. So between the two of us, we have dedicated our entire careers to serving Williamson County. So I don't hesitate at all to rethink my decision to run for county commission.
Right now, you're training another county commissioner
I am.
by the name of Carden.
That's right.
Somebody trained you.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that?
David Pear.
Okay. And that's just the way things are done, because a county commissioner hits the ground running,
That's right.
and you really don't have time to learn on the job, even though that's the only way you can.
You're absolutely right. I remember the first time I was sworn in, and then they said, here you go, here's your button, start voting. And luckily David had walked me through the process, kind of explained to me what was going on. So I had some idea, but I didn't have all the knowledge as to what was coming up. And so that's what also makes the election coming up in September so vital. There could be a big shift in who's serving on the county commission, and we have some big decisions to make. And so asking new people to make those decisions could be really tough.
Are you interested in being county commission chairman?
You know, somebody had mentioned it to me, and it surprised me. I wouldn't say no, but at the same time, I am raising a teenager. I'm very busy at work. I am not opposed to it, but it's definitely something Corey and I would have to talk about.
We have about 60 seconds left. Those 60 seconds are all yours. Make your pitch on why people in the 3rd District should send you back.
I really believe that the citizens of District 3 have been well represented over the years, starting with, I mentioned, David Pear and Matt Milligan when the district was created. I have experience serving in the role, not only serving as a county commissioner, but again, serving in the district attorney's office, which gives me insight into the judicial system, into the sheriff's department. So I have insight that other county commissioners don't have. What does it mean to operate a jail? What does it mean to serve as a law enforcement officer? What does it look like being in the courthouse? What does it mean to be prosecuted in the courthouse? And I have those connections through the judges, the county clerk. Most elected officials somewhat run through our office or we have dealings with. And so that is knowledge, inside knowledge that you can't replicate as hard as you try. There are other commissioners who have knowledge about healthcare or life insurance that I don't have. And so we each kind of bring something different to the table, and my experience is invaluable. And I work well with the elected officials in Spring Hill. I have a good working relationship with Mayor Matt Fitterer, and I think I still have a lot of good to do on the county commission, and I'm excited about it.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Christina Rosato, am I pronouncing that right?
Christina Rosato, yes.
Is a candidate for 3rd District County Commissioner. 3rd District is in the is Williamson County's southern border. Where is the 3rd District?
It is really the heart of Spring Hill, most of Spring Hill, not all of it. So there's plenty of good parts of Spring Hill that are not in District 3. But it's that little section between Main Street, Buckner, the other Buckner, and then just a little bit south of Duplex. The county line just kind of cuts a diagonal right through that southern part right below Duplex.
I bought my house in Spring Hill. I was water meter number 850. 800. I was the 850th water meter in Spring Hill.
Spring Hill.
They even asked me to be city judge for a couple of years. That was in a Spring Hill that's long ago.
Very long ago.
Spring Hill was the home of affordable housing back then.
It was.
It's not the case anymore.
Not the case.
Why do you want to be on the county commissioner, on the county commission, especially from a community that is growing and is changing, and sometimes kind of strangles on Highway 31?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly why, right? So the area has grown quite a bit and quite rapidly. And we're watching that growth happen at exponential rates. We're watching that the infrastructure is not keeping up at all with the pace of housing, to the point where Spring Hill, our water, currently has a moratorium on new construction. We're often asked in the summer not to run water hoses for periods of time or rotate days. Quality of water is a big concern of mine. The other reason I decided to run was related to the issues with the hospital and our issues with our jail, our sheriff's department, and our courthouse needing the expansion there. But I'm very concerned about the hospital potentially being sold and what's happening around that.
All of those places can be classified as infrastructure.
Yes, absolutely.
Infrastructure is... Have you paid a water bill in Spring Hill lately? It's expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
How can we afford the infrastructure that, not necessarily that we want, but what we need?
What we need, right. Actually, my campaign slogan is preserve what we love, plan for what we need, okay? So my position is that we have to be smart about how we do growth. I love growth. I have been a huge fan of the growth. I love the new areas popping up all over. I think Williamson County does a beautiful job of bringing in beautiful new areas. The challenge that we have is that we allow that growth to occur without making sure that infrastructure keeps pace. We have new developments going in all over the county that are not prepared to handle the schools. They're not prepared to handle, our sheriff is very concerned about response times. Our jail is not adequate, our courthouse is not adequate. And so we need to be able to make decisions really that take the time to do that. Our commercial developers have this thing called, actually all developers have this thing called an AFT, an adequate facilities tax. And for years and years and years, since the mid-'80s, that adequate facilities tax for residential was set at $1. So $1 per square foot, residential developers paid that, of course passed that cost on to the homeowner when they purchase the home, but it's a one-time fee, right? For years, the commercial tax rate was 34 cents per square foot when it could have been $2. The commission only just got around to increasing it, and it actually won't be fully increased to the $2 amount until April of this year. We've been leaving millions of dollars on the table for commercial developers to get. All of those costs end up getting passed down to the residents one way or another. But the issue is that we're not bringing in the revenue as a county to be able to keep up with the infrastructure needs that we have. The congestion in Spring Hill on I-65, June Lake, and all of that reduces down from like 4 or 5 lanes down to 2 lanes, is all happening, and we're not keeping up, right? The congestion is outrageous. I used to work in Nashville pre-pandemic, right? I don't even have to work in Nashville anymore because I can work from home now because the world has changed so much. And that's been really great. But the commute has not changed at all. It has not changed at all because the growth here has been so rapid that people who do need to commute are commuting a ridiculously long commute into Nashville, into their places of employment. That impacts family time, home time. It impacts a lot, and I think, you know, our residents deserve better. We deserve the roads in place before some of this gets into place, or at least it's happening simultaneously.
Explain Spring Hill's relationship with Williamson County. I won't ask you to explain its relationship with Murray County because I live there. I've lived there a long time. I don't understand it. But the growth now, the Williamson County part of Spring Hill may be built out.
Yes.
The growth is in Murray County, so now it's going to be their problem.
Yeah.
Yes, I asked you about the water bill in Spring Hill because last year it's easily double, maybe triple. Mm-hmm. And that adequate facilities tax, I shouldn't be expressing opinions, but it really doesn't need to be $1. It needs to be $10 a square foot.
Probably needs to be a little bit more, and that's a state issue. The state sets that amount. The county commission doesn't. But for sure, I mean, there are opportunities to gain more income. The county also has the opportunity to assess that adequate facilities tax on new commercial development happening in the incorporated areas. It's not something that we currently do. It's certainly something that we could also play with if we decided we wanted to do that. But regarding the relationship with the city of Spring Hill, right now it's actually quite contentious. Recently the county made a vote. The county commission voted on some issues related to the urban growth boundary that, meant to protect the rural residents. It was in their best interest. It's in the rural residents' best interest, for sure. And the residents are who I'm here for and care about most. So that's really, really important that they made that decision. And at the same time, because two things can be true at the same time, the county did not consult with any of the incorporated areas. None of the cities or towns got included in that decision.
So it was a surprise? And
it was a big surprise. Mm-hmm. And so all of the cities have passed resolutions kind of condemning this vote on principle, right? Not because it wasn't a good thing to do, but because of the principle of it. And I think as county commissioners, we have an obligation. We have a real obligation to be really good partners with our cities. This county as a whole is spectacular. It's beautiful here. And it's beautiful in the county and in all of the cities. And I think for the most part, a really good job has been done in building this community. It's very special. It's why I live here. And at the same time, we have to have good relationships, and we have to have some intentional relationships. And one of the things that I've noticed is that there isn't good relationship building. And I think part of that has to do, I don't think that's intentional by any one commissioner or even the bodies, but I don't think we have good infrastructure or process around how we communicate with the cities and the towns. It's a bit piecemeal. There isn't a structure or a standard way of doing that. We need a task force or a committee or some kind of regular meeting body of the cities and the county who come together regularly, because this isn't the only issue. The Franklin and the city, or Franklin and the county, are currently kind of in argument about where the new jail, courthouse, juvenile detention center are going to go, the JJJ as they like to call it. And that's something that has been asked for since 2018, and it keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed. Our sheriff has not had new staff allocated since 2018, and when I think about how many new houses have gone in, and that's a public safety issue. If I need assistance, I can't get it in the same time frame I could have 10 years ago, and that's a real concern for me.
Something's missing in this conversation.
Okay.
We've talked about roads, we've talked about safety of the sheriff's office, we've talked about water, but the elephant in the room is schools.
Schools.
We haven't brought it up one time.
Schools are so incredibly important. My daughter's a graduate of Independence High School, and I think the education our kids get in our public schools is phenomenal.
Why are we taking it for granted all of a sudden?
You know, I don't know, but we need to make a change around that, and we need to really focus on making sure that two things. One is that we have adequate space for our kids in our schools, right? We are seeing that these communities are being built and there's no plan for where those kids are going to go to school. This is a huge concern because the time it takes to build a school and the time in which those housing communities are going to go up are not going to align, which is going to mean overcrowding. It's going to require the purchasing of portables. We also struggle with recruiting and retaining teachers, qualified, amazing teachers. We have the best teachers in the state, in this county, and they deserve really good, fair compensation for the hard work that they do with our children. They are preparing the future of this county. And my big concern is that this county is not affordable for our teachers to live in. Not all of our teachers can live here.
They can't even afford Murray County now.
Right, and where do we get our newest teachers from? We get our newest teachers straight out of school. And I have a daughter who's graduating college in a year and a half. And I have no idea what the world is going to look like in those.
And it's tough for her to come home to buy a house.
To buy
to
a house. Yeah, she's
in
probably going to
Williamson
have to
County.
live in my house
Yeah.
because she's not going to be able to afford to buy her own home, right? And I bought my first house at 23 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, the world is definitely a different place, and we have to start thinking about the future and not the immediate gain, but what the future impact of our decisions are. Every policy decision, I teach social welfare policy at University of Tennessee. It's a side job that I have. And one of the things that I know to be true about policy decisions is that every policy decision has an unintended consequence. And we have to be looking for those unintended consequences before we make decisions so that we can be making the best decisions for our community.
You're in probably the most competitive district. Are you the Diane Giddens? Is she running in the 3rd district?
No, it's Jennifer Mason and Guy Carden, and then Christine Vertucci is the other Democrat.
I confuse the 3rd district with the 12th district all the time because they used to be next to each other. Yes. But from that standpoint, and let me drop back a little. I don't mean to offend Murray County schools. They're just compared to the school the system next door.
Yeah.
And there is no comparison.
Unfortunately, there isn't, because we have a lot of disparity in how we distribute funds. It's based on property taxes. So Williamson County is able to do more for their residents because we have a wealthier population here. But it's not that Maury County doesn't have fantastic teachers and school systems that want to be as excellent as Williamson County schools and strive for that. They just don't always have the same structural resources to be able to make that happen.
You have 30 to 45 seconds to look into that camera and give your best pitch of why people should vote for you no later than May 5th.
Absolutely. And August 6th, because that's the general election, which is the important one. I want the District 3 residents of Spring Hill and Thompson Station, some of y'all are in Thompson Station, to vote for me, because I am here for you. I'm not here for big development. I'm not here for, systems. I'm here for people. I'm here to make decisions for you. I'm affected by the same decisions that you're affected by. I hear at county commission meetings how much you are impacted by some of the decisions being made. One thing we didn't talk about was the county hospital. And I just want to lift that up one more time and say, we have to do something to protect our interests. Not what's easiest, not what's best for corporations, not what's best for industry. We need to be making decisions what's best for us, because ultimately that will be best for everything that we do.
So am I hearing you correctly that you're saying don't look at Williamson Medical Center and think this is the way out of our debt?
It is absolutely not the way out of our debt, and that is the way the state law was written, and they're trying to pass a state law to have that change so that the money can be used. Right now it cannot be used according to state law, but there are already powers working to make it so that it can be used. And when this hospital was first put into place 70 years ago, the plan was for it to be for the residents and for healthcare and for charitable purposes. And all of that is being stripped away, and it's not okay. And it's going to affect our cost of healthcare in this county, and it's going to affect the quality of care, because staffing ratios will decrease. And I know I'm going over on time.
And so the ambulance service would go away too.
Yes. Yeah, we've got a lot to be concerned about. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate being able to be here today.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Christine Vertucci wants to be a Williamson County Commissioner from the 3rd District. The 3rd District is a little south of here, isn't it?
It is. It is quite a bit south of here.
Where is the 3rd District?
I am in Spring Hill, Tennessee, so we're the southern part of the county.
I live in Spring Hill myself.
Oh,
It's the only place in Williamson County I can afford to live.
Yeah, well, that's getting harder and harder to find all the time, I know.
Why do you, well, before we broach that subject, tell us about yourself, what you do for a living, about your family.
Sure. I am a fairly new resident of Williamson County in Spring Hill. My family and I moved here a few years ago, basically because we wanted to change of pace and all the things that Williamson County has to offer, right? So we moved here from Chicago. We wanted to change from living in the big city. And since we moved here, I've come to appreciate all of those differences. You know, the slower pace, the more land. I love that I see goats when I drive out of my HOA. But I understand that it's grown so rapidly, even in the time I've been here, that there's concern about all those qualities that make Williamson County so great to live in. We're afraid of losing those, and so that's one of the reasons why I am running for county commissioner. So
our growth rate is kind of taking we're kind of inhaling right now. Mm-hmm. The school system tells us that our growth has flattened, perhaps because people can't afford $1.5 million for a house. Mm-hmm. Could be a good thing. What's your attitude toward growth? You said, I think the term was you loved growth.
I think growth is important.
Mm-hmm.
I think responsible growth is very important.
You did say responsible growth.
Responsible, planned, responsible growth is really important. We have to make sure that our infrastructure can keep up with our growth. So I think we need to make sure developers who are planning to profit off this growth, as they should, it's important, but they should be participating in and contributing to our infrastructure so that we can support, all of this growth.
You can tell a very smart developer when he or she appears before the planning commission and just says matter-of-factly, I want to build 500 homes, and oh, by the way, here's 12 acres, I want you to build a school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's pretty intelligent developer.
Mm-hmm.
They do pay to play. Now, I'm not sure whether they pay enough. That's for county commissioners to decide. Yeah. Is this why you want to be a county commissioner?
Certainly one of the things, it's one of the reasons why. I want to make sure that developers are paying their fair share, especially when they're changing the landscape and the experience of Williamson County residents, particularly down in Spring Hill, which has just seen an unbelievable boom. Growth that I could not have even imagined. So we have new roads that have been built since I moved there. It's mind-boggling. But that is one of the reasons why I want to make sure that, the reason that my family and I moved here continues to exist.
When you bought your house, you paid $1 a square foot.
That's right. A little more than that.
Just to come here.
Yep.
I think that was designated maybe for schools.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a fee for this and a fee for that. And in Spring Hill, just in the time you've been here, I guarantee you pay more for water than you did when you first got here.
Oh, yes. Yes, we do.
Is our infrastructure adequate?
I think that's a major concern. We're already seeing that our infrastructure is being strained with all of this development and all this growth, particularly when it comes to water and sewage. We already have a moratorium on new sewer connections. That is concerning to me. The fact that we have to restrict the days that we can water our lawns is a little bit concerning to me. Preserving the Duck River is really concerning to me. So I think there's a lot of things that we have to consider very carefully when it comes to further growth and development in our county, particularly down in Spring Hill.
We've talked about growth. On your way home,
Mm-hmm.
you will cross or you will go home on Highway 31 because there's only one way in and only one way out.
That is correct. Yeah.
And that's Highway 31. We've got to do better. How do we do better?
We absolutely must do better. One of the things that I really looked forward to moving down to Williamson County, Spring Hill, Tennessee, was not sitting in traffic like I used to. I would spend hours in traffic, and at first, that's one of the things I got to enjoy, was avoiding that. However, now I'm starting to feel that pain that the residents, especially the long-term residents here, are complaining about, understandably, that it's even harder to get out of their driveways now.
Mm-hmm.
They have to plan that when they're taking their kids to school in the morning or going to work or going to vote. We have new traffic lights all over the place. Great, as long as they're timed well so that we can control the flow of traffic and we're not just standing still constantly. I think that's a big concern that developers also need to take into consideration when they're proposing new developments. How is that going to affect traffic? How can we make it better for those who are already living here and not certainly make it worse?
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. We've talked about traffic. We've talked about water. But the elephant in the room is schools. We have the best because we want the best.
Absolutely.
We're willing to pay for the best. We've got it.
We do.
And now that has brought us growth we did not plan on. I happen to believe that growth is worth it because yes, we could have better schools, but I'm not sure how we make them any better than they are now. That was probably one of the reasons you chose Williamson County. What can we do to protect our schools or even improve our schools? Oh yeah, technology is always going to be there, but you and I need to be doing something more to preserve the value of Williamson County schools.
I wholeheartedly agree, and when you mentioned protecting the value of Williamson County schools, I think that also means protecting the value of our homes, right? So as go the schools, goes our property values. So the fact that Williamson County does have some of the best schools in the state was certainly one of the reasons we chose Williamson County. I think we need to make sure that we hire and retain and pay our teachers, the wages that they deserve to be paid in order to keep them here. We need to make sure that we have housing that our teachers can afford to live in here. That's one of the things I'm concerned about when you mentioned the $1+ million homes that are being built. That's all I see around us. When it comes to growth and development, I think that does need to include a variety of homes without affecting the character of our community, but it does need to include homes that are affordable for our teachers, for our first responders, so that we can attract them and keep them here.
There's something very basically wrong when a school teacher or a first responder cannot afford to live in the community they serve. How can we do better about that? There are communities in the Southeast that control things enough to tell a developer, okay, you can build your 500, but 50 of them are going to be affordable. And then here comes a brand new debate of what's affordable. How can we make it possible for a school teacher to be able to live in the community they teach in?
I think it's a really, really important point, and a good question. I think we do need to be able to pay our teachers, a living wage. We need to pay them what they're worth, right? And I think it's one of the most important occupations that we have, the most important professions that we have. So we should be paying our teachers adequately so that they can purchase a home in our county and live in the community in which they're serving.
Tell us about the tax rate you left to come here.
Which one?
If there's anything subjective, it's taxes. Nobody wants to pay more taxes, but you go to other places in this country, I'm surprised more of them aren't here simply for the tax rate. Now, we do stretch a penny.
As we should.
As we should. Sooner or later, say you get elected, sooner or later you're going to have to deal with, do I want to raise the property tax by how many pennies? It's going to happen. What's your attitude going to be in making that decision?
Yeah, first of all, I think we need to be responsible and transparent with how we're spending our finances, our resources. We need to absolutely be responsible stewards of our finances here in the county. I don't think it's fair to add taxes or increase taxes when everything else is going up. We talked about the cost of water. That's really, really high right now. Home ownership is really, really hard right now. Like it's expensive. It's very expensive to purchase a home in Williamson County. I think in order to justify any tax increases, we would have to make sure that we have done our due diligence and making sure that any available resources, existing resources that we have, are used appropriately and adequately before we even consider increasing any tax rates.
Last county commission meeting, they took a vote on a new courthouse. How would you have voted?
Oh boy, that was a little bit of a heated discussion.
A little bit.
Yes, and it certainly sounds as if the new courthouse is necessary and justified. However, the residents are also concerned about the location of that courthouse, and I think we need to determine whether or not we can use any existing facilities or make sure that wherever we're building, it fits in with the community and the landscape, so that we're not disturbing our residents.
Are you running as an independent, a Republican, or a Democrat?
I am running as a Democrat.
I am so old, ma'am, I can remember when the Democrats had a working majority just like the Republicans do now. And it was only 50 years ago. And here the Republicans are 50 years later are making the same mistakes the Democrats made 50 years ago. Should this race even be a partisan race?
I don't see any need for partisan politics in county government. I really don't. I think I see this as I'm a neighbor, I'm a resident, I'm a citizen of Spring Hill in Williamson County, Tennessee. I don't present myself as being a Democrat versus a Republican. I don't think that really has any place in this role, really. So I'm a neighbor. I'm a good neighbor.
A good neighbor candidate. I like that. I like that. What does a good neighbor entail?
You know, one of the things I love so much about Williamson County after moving here is that I know almost all of my neighbors.
Did you know all your neighbors in Chicago?
I certainly didn't. I did not, even though I lived in a residential neighborhood. And,
you didn't live in Naperville, did you?
I didn't know. I lived in the city. Yeah,
okay.
In the city. But I love the fact that I know all of my neighbors. I know their kids. I know their pets.
No.
They know mine for good reasons. And we've got their contact information. I asked my next door neighbor, for example, when they were going out of town, can I collect their mail? Can I bring in their recycling and garbage bins?
You are a good neighbor.
Yeah.
You are a good neighbor.
Important. So,
well, we're within 60 seconds. Would you look into the camera and take your best shot? Give me your best pitch of why people should support you.
Okay. I am Christine Bertucci. I'm a candidate for County Commissioner in Williamson County, District 3. And as we just mentioned, I am running for to be your County Commissioner because I think it's important to be a good neighbor and also focus on sustainable, responsible growth here in the county so that we can all have the services and infrastructure that we deserve.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.